We have a lot of cash, I believe. We have substantially in excess of 400 million cash, which is a lot for a developer. Developers usually don't have cash, they have assets.
We know that there will be a bond and there will be no issues with that.
For the $464 million fraud judgment against him in that civil fraud case. Trump's lawyers write in a recent filing here that getting the judgment's full amount in a bond is a practical impossibility.
Apparently, there are. That much was clear today by what his attorneys told a court here in New York. Possibly foreshadowing that not only does he not have the money right now, it also may not be coming by the deadline.
You know, when you're able to talk someone using their own words, it just makes it all the sweeter, don't you think?
I believe 400 plus and going up very substantially.
Quote there at the end, going up substantially every month apparently is not true.
After news this week that the man whose lawyer has claimed on numerous occasions that he had billions and billions, and wait for it, more billions on hand.
Know by looking at his statements of financial condition that this guy is worth a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars. And that didn't even include his brand, Martha.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Was unable to obtain funds to meet his bond. Most mainstream media outlets, or those not cocooned off from reality, should I add, had an absolute field day reporting on it.
I'm going to get into privileged information, but there will be a bond and there will be no issues with that. So that's all I'll say on that.
Okay.
She, as an Alina Habba, she's doing a few things. One, she's doing the spectacle for her client, but two, she's also doing it because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. I am comfortable in saying that the lack of competency on the part of Alina Habba is glaringly obvious now.
Over on MSNBC, Maddow opted to take a trip down memory lane as Trump humors the possibility of Paul Manafort returning, a convicted tax evader, by the way, coming back into the inner circle just as the need for funds becomes more prevalent.
Been more desperately in need of money than he is right this second today. The day it is reported that this guy, for all his baggage, for all his ex-con sparkle, this guy is coming back. The guy who specializes in extracting money from Kremlin-aligned interests to serve Vladimir Putin's long-term goals. In any other world, the president bringing back a former campaign chairman who had just gotten out of prison, bringing him back again after he got out of prison would be crazy pants. But in Trump Republican politics, hey, I mean, get in line. It wasn't just Trump's campaign chairman who went to prison. Trump's campaign vice chairman, Rick Gates, was also charged and convicted and sentenced to prison. Trump advisor and campaign aide, Roger Stone, was charged and convicted and sentenced to prison. Trump White House National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, was charged and convicted. Trump's campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, was charged and convicted and sentenced to prison. The Trump Organization's CFO, Alan Weisselberg, was charged and convicted and sentenced to prison. Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, was charged with wire fraud and money laundering. He's been sentenced to prison pending appeal for defying a subpoena. Trump's business was itself found guilty of tax fraud. Two Trump lawyers, Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell, have pled guilty to election-related crimes. And now tomorrow, another one of Trump's White House advisors, Peter Navarro, is due to report to start serving his sentence in federal prison. So it's not like Manafort's the only one in stripes, right? That's how these guys roll. You sign up for the Trump campaign, they ask you what size should they make your jumpsuit.
But then there was CNN's Kaitlan Collins, who used every bit of her time reminding viewers of Trump's own words in the past. And the ketchup on the cake was the Apprentice theme usage. I mean, top drawer writing, let's be honest.
We have a lot of cash, I believe. We have substantially in excess of 400 million cash, which is a lot for a developer. Developers usually don't have cash, they have assets, not cash. But we have, I believe, 400 plus and going up very substantially every month.
That quote there at the end, going up substantially every month, apparently is not true. A reminder about what his attorney, who argued and then lost this case, had to say about this.
This guy is worth a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars. He happens to have a lot of cash.
Of course he has money. You know, he's a billionaire. We know that. There will be a bond and there will be no issues with that.
Well, apparently there are. That much was clear today by what his attorneys told a court here in New York. These are thorny issues, of course, for the man who has staked his entire identity on being wealthy, even appearing in movies like Home Alone 2 as a rich New Yorker, not to mention the theme song for his own TV show.
Money, 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 money.
It is no surprise what's on Trump's mind tonight. He often makes that quite clear on his own website. And he posted just a few moments ago that a bond this big is, quote, practically impossible for any company to pay, possibly foreshadowing that not only does he not have the money right now, it also may not be coming by the deadline.
But here's the thing, in the context of the danger that he poses if set to return to office, is highlighting his failings as a businessman and lies regarding his wealth as high on the pecking order as his blatant threats to democracy and glorification of dictators?
Given all of the things that have happened this week, including, and I know you asked Chris Christie about this, the fact that Donald Trump yesterday suggested that Vladimir Putin should have free rein in attacking NATO allies. Yeah. And what do we see when we wake up this morning? Wall-to-wall coverage of whether a guy who's 4 years older than his opponent is too old to be president.
I'd say not so much. But much like Trump's attacks on Jimmy Kimmel after he was humiliated at the Oscars, this is just another massive ego check, and nothing hurts Donnie more.
We have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah. Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. The former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's so stupid.
Ever since this lawsuit came about, he's bragged about the value of his properties, claiming that he never inflated their worth. They're just worth more than people think. All while his lawyers gravitated to every camera with a red light on, singing his wealthy praises, for it to turn out, like most things that he boasts about, a massive lie. And it's not just the mere fact that he can't post bond, it's that 30 companies have actually rejected his request for help, meaning they didn't see enough collateral to put up the payment.
So Trump's lawyers have informed the appeals court today that they are unable to get anybody, an insurance company, an underwriter, to help them post this bond, the $454 million for Trump alone, the rest to cover his sons. And what they say is that they've approached 30 insurance underwriters, some of these big, gigantic companies that you know, and they say that none of them are willing to do it. As you said, they're calling it a practical impossibility. You know, one of the reasons that they say is an issue here is that some of these insurance companies have internal limits that they won't issue a bond for more than $100 million. And some of the biggest names that you can think of in the insurance world also will not underwrite a bond and take property, which is what Trump has to put up. They want cash, they want securities, stocks, bonds, something that is what's a liquid, easy to sell asset. They don't want property. And so that is the problem that Trump has run into in trying to come up with this massive amount of money, $500 million. You know, these bond companies too, they also want their own I guess you could call it, insurance on it. They want extra money than just what the bond is so that they can, cover this as it plays out. This bond is to stop the New York Attorney General's office from seizing the property while the appeal of the judgment and the case goes forward. So they've been asking the Trump's team has been asking the appeals court to allow them to not have to post this bond until the appeal is over. They're saying that Trump has properties that are worth more than the judgment in this case. It's just something that the insurance companies won't take. So they're saying that the Attorney General's team will be able to collect on this judgment if it stands, and they could do so by seizing some of the properties, which the Attorney General's office said they're ready to do. But they're still asking the appeals court here for more time, and that's why we're seeing this new information come out today, saying they're unable to post the bond of this magnitude. They can't get anyone to underwrite it because it is just a large amount, and particularly a large amount for one individual. Wolf?
So, Kara, what comes next in this process?
So now it is before the appeals court. There's been briefing on this. It's up to this New York State appeals court to decide whether to allow Trump to move forward with the appeal and stop the Attorney General's office from seizing properties to give them this time to have the court case play out. If the court says that Trump does not get this stay, Trump's side is asking them to allow them to put their ruling on hold so they can appeal to the highest appeals court in New York State. Those will be decisions for the New York appeals court to decide. And of course, the New York Attorney General's office has opposed this. They want the appeals court to allow them to enforce the injunction now if Trump cannot post that bond.
And nothing hurts a liar more than the harsh truth when it comes at the expense of that ego.
I enjoy steaks of this quality in one of my resort restaurants or America's finest steakhouses, but now that's changed. Today, through the Shopper Image, you can enjoy the world's greatest steaks in your own home. Suits will guarantee you're always boardroom ready, but every great suit needs a great shirt and tie. What we've done, that's the real deal. That's the real deal.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.